Shalom. All praises go to the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem and the Rahmadash that belong to the elder apostles at Great Millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. Shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Now, I was sent this video here a while ago, and yeah, so, and he asked me like, so what's going on? And well, this is the video.
ADOLF and the original Aryans were all melanated Moorish people.
These Edomites that have these software now that can make these things, you know, these little footages that you see as if it were real pictures from those days, they're lying to you. This is what they're doing. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh, neither do they, because they do war after the flesh, but you know, they're in a war right now with the Iran and also with Ukraine, so that the Russia is fighting Ukraine and Crimea, or they already conquered that one, and yeah, they're already fighting in a physical form. But yeah, loose from that, they are mentally attacking our people too with videos like this, because it confuses a lot of people, because he was sent it by two other people, two other jigs, you know. So therefore he sent it to me like, hey, look at what they're sending me. So a lot of jigs are just confused, man. You know, they either believe it or it's doubts in their head. And Yahushua said that in a ye of little faith, why did this doubt? Because Peter started to sink. That's basically a death sentence if you start to doubt Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and also basically the history of the Bible. But yeah, going on. We do not war after the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of the strongholds. The strongholds are in your mind. Esau has a stronghold in our people's minds. You know, and I'm going to get to this word later on, by the way, here. Casting down imaginations, at which we're doing right now. Well, Lord willing, I'll be doing right now. And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Heavenly Father, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Because we're supposed to obey him and not the things of the world, and also not yourself, because a lot of people want to have knowledge of self and all that type of stuff, so they obey their own wisdom, talking about you can smoke weed because the Heavenly Father created it. Well, the Heavenly Father created cocaine too, coca leaves. Is that a good thing? You know that's not a good thing. You know, a lot of people use it because they feel good about it, but their end result is not that good. The more money you have, the less money you will have. But yeah, the more money you have, the more you're going to buy it. And people with a lot of money, you don't see the symptoms because they can maintain themselves for longer. But if you are just an average person and you're hooked to that, it's going to show, because you're going to look fucked up, because you don't have your fix on time at every time. So here.
Ancient Germans of Germania who were swapped out by white decoys to keep the theater going.
There were Moors there in Germany back in those days, yes. You know, they were called Moors. But yeah, Moors used to be all over Europe. But what they're doing here is they're taking a bit of history and then mixing it with their lies, because that's what an Edomite does. And these are Edomites making these videos, because if you go to that website, no, well, not that website, but you have a lot of websites actually, but I'm going to use just this one for an example. You see all these pictures that they have created with these softwares and stuff like that. And yeah, this website has been recently adjusted to where that you don't see no sexual things here, because this website was full of that shit. And then you had to go to the options here and turn it off, you know. And even on so this word right here, anthro, whatever the hell that thing is, in bikini, Siphitia, which is Siphitia, this thing here, Siphitia, Zifitai, I should say Zifitai.com. So I typed that here, but in Google, and then I typed in bikinis, and you gonna see a lot of just porn shit, man. That's what that's what the caucus boys are doing. These Edomites, they take in animals and then they making it into females and then sexualizing them, titties out, whatever, just anything that you can imagine. It's a they call it the AI thing, AI model. So it can create whatever kind of picture you want. You type in, you have censored versions, which are the commercial ones, but then you have uncensored versions, which are the ones that they use here. So it's Edomites. Jakes are not really making videos like this. Where is it though? Sorry, here. They're not really doing this. Yeah. Most Jakes don't even know what the hell is going on when they see stuff like that. How did you make that? Well, those softwares. Like I said, they make a lot of these type of things, and then they create, for example, these foot fetishes. Well, this is all censored, by the way. You're not gonna see nudity because I clicked it in here. I clicked it away like, hey, I don't want to see that shit. But anyway, here, foot fetish things and stuff like that. And it goes further. They're taking off the clothes and stuff. White boy shit, boy. That's what they're doing. They've been doing that. Even before this AI thing, this so-called AI thing, they've been doing it before that, man. Because I've seen it on Pinterest before Pinterest was overrun with all CGI type of cartoons right now, or drawings, I should say. Sorry. And here you have it again. So okay, let me get rid of this. It's Esau. These things, these type of pictures, you can make it with those same models that I just showed you back right there. But I showed you cartoons, but still, you can do this also with that same cartoon model. Well, with other models as well. So let me say something different. Let me say it different. It's the model. You can do whatever you type in. So if you want a cartoon character, then you do that. If you want black and white, make it look authentic, so-called authentic, then you do that, right?
The real Hitler, they try to hide behind the identity of an actor, is named Bayum Muhammad Hussein, to cover up the man wearing the Hindenburg Cross and the Imperial Eagle, the real Moorish German nobility, and the original black Nazarites who were replaced in your textbooks by castrato.
Nazarites, right. The word Nazi just means nation.
Nobility, and the original black Nazarites who were...
They just figuring out new words. It just means nation. Nationalist. It's basically nation. National Socialist. Yeah, it's just a nation. That's what it is. Nazi. If you say Nazi in the Dutch, like here. Nation. This is Dutch. Nazi. How you pronounce it? Nazi. It's the same thing. You pronounce it like an S.
Nazi.
See? It's this German and Dutch is almost the same. But anyway, here it says people. Well, maybe if I change it here, nation. So nation, folk is people, like folklore. Well, that's something else actually. It's people, something like that. You pronounce it like that, folk, and then party, which is party of people. Not party as in you, no, not that one. Party as in people. Partij. Right. Okay, so Nazi. Nazi is people. It's nation. It's not a bad word. But with Esau, everything turns into bad. Look at the rainbow. Let me go on.
Replaced in your textbooks by castratos like the white Heinrich.
Look, I don't want to listen to this bullshit. What are they doing is this guy is setting up the confusion, right? And you have idiots like this reposting these type of videos. And the funny thing is that if you go to this thing's website, I don't know what it is, you see an Elam person, and that's the real Aryans. The real Aryans are these people. And you can find that right here throughout the Bible. Well, let me get a few things first, and then we use the Bible to show that okay, that's what it's talking about. Okay, So I typed in here, are the Aryans Medes or Persians? I already know because I did a video before this whole AI thing even existed. It's a video about Japhet. Wait, let me show you some. Alright, so here you have it. The website doesn't work anymore. I don't know. They took it down. But if you look here, stormfront.org, forum T912244, and here you can see it again, the same thing here, and I had it since 2015. Made a video about it, and this is it. But I made it like 2 years later, if I'm correct. And then this is the website, stormfront.org, forum T91224. That's the same thing that's here. Sorry. Same thing that's here. But they took it down. I didn't know that. I did not know that. But yeah, it's already like really old, you know, so yeah. You know, so what is it, 11 years? Yeah. 11 years. So okay, they took it down. I didn't know that. But yeah. On that website, well, maybe you can see it here. You don't see it. Oh yeah, it's here. The family of Japhet, biblical origins of the Aryan nation. Okay. So now it might look like, you know, it's kind of confusing as if they are the Aryans, but they're both called Aryans, but the original one is actually, yeah, both of them actually, but yeah, I'll show you. For example, look here. You have the Persian Empire, right? But this is the Median Empire. The Median Empire, it's Japhet. Japhet was there. And then later on, the Persians took it over, which Persia is right here. Persis is also here, Persis. And Ekbatana, and the Median Empire. The Parthians, or Parthia, is also mentioned in the Bible. Scythians, it's also mentioned here. Well, you can actually see that part here. Wait, sorry. Oh, I think here. So, Armenians. Am I looking at this one? Here. Parthia, Ekbatana, Susania, Persis, Persepolis, Persepolis. Okay, going on. Armenians, and but then you have a little bit. Oh yeah, here this you can find this one in the Apocrypha also, and you can find the Ekbatana in the Apocrypha also. Oh yeah, the Scythians there. I was looking for it. Scythians, you can find that in the scriptures. You had Scythian Israelites living there. You had Parthia Israelites living there. Yeah? They was living there amongst the Medes. And then here, down here, the Armenians are originally Elam. But you had Israelites living amongst them there. And Persis also, right? And then here's another map. You know, Persis, Armenians, and Scythians. It's not, yeah. It's a little bit more, I would say, organized, I should say, compared to the other map over here, because it's all over. You don't see really borders. Well, you can kind of see them, but with the dot thing. But the other one is still better. But anyway, let me go on. So this was called, and then wait, let me read this. Okay, so it says right here, the Aryans are neither exclusively Medes nor Persians. Rather, both the Medes and the Persians were subgroups of the Aryans. That's not 100% correct. Anyway, you had the Medes, you had the Persians, you had the Parthians, which, look, these people are Elam, right? But they did have mingled themselves with Medes. Now, we don't know who the father is and stuff like that of certain one of them, because I don't know. You know, they probably don't even know. But that happens when you start intermingling. And that is what they did. The Medo-Persian Empire, they came together. But the Persians were the rulership party of both of them. You know, party. Let's see, party without feasting. That's what the word Nazi means. It's a party. Anyway, so going on. So let me see. It says right here. I typed in, did Darius call himself a Persian? Well, it says right here, right? Well, not this one. This one. Did Darius call himself a Persian? Yes, he did, but he wasn't. I'll show it to you in the scriptures itself. It says it itself. An inscription in his tomb introduced him as great king, king of kings. That's also in the scriptures, that he was named king of kings. Well, not like this, but I'm going to show you, right? Let me go on. King of the countries, containing all kinds of men. That's the truth. That's also in the Bible. King in this great earth, far and wide. The son of this word, an Aramean or something like that. You could kind of say Armenian, because that whole region was called the land of Aram. Well, here, let me show you something. Let me see here. Aramean. But I looked up that word and it goes into Ahasuerus. Wait, sorry, let me... Here. Well, actually, this was called the land of Aram. This whole region over here. From here, Jerusalem... Well, no. From here, Damascus, you can kind of say Damascus, all the way to Carchemish, then Nineveh. So, yeah, this wasn't called... what am I saying? This was not called Aram, but... Yeah, Mesopotamia was called Aram, this region. And you can find that out here. Sorry, made a mistake. You can find that here. Numbers 22 and 5. Numbers 23 and 7. And Deuteronomy 23 and 4. So it says, Numbers 22, 5. He sent messengers therefore unto Balaam, the son of Beor, to Pethor, which is by the river Euphrates, of the land of the children of his people. So Balaam is that witch or warlock or wizard or prophet. You could call him what you want, right? To call him, saying, Behold, there is a people come out of Mizraim. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. This was Moab was talking, Balak with a K. Numbers chapter 23, verse 7. And Balaam took up his parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, had brought me, Balaam or Balaam, from Aram, out of the mountains of the east, saying, Come, curse me Jacob, and come defy Israel. Deuteronomy 23, 4. Because they, which is Moab and Ammon, Midian was there too. The book of Numbers chapter 25, and then Numbers chapter 30 or 31. If you just read 25 until 31, you will see that Midianites were also a part of it. But the Most High didn't curse the Midianites like that. He killed them, by the way. If you read it, you will see. But he cursed the Moabites and the Ammonites, basically perpetually, for what they wanted to do unto Jacob. And what they did also, by the way. With trickery through women, they still killed us, because Balaam knew he couldn't curse the nation of Israel. He couldn't. So it wouldn't work, and he knew that. So he still wanted to kill him. So what did he do? He concocted up a scheme to get them with the women, because he knew, like, oh, if they sin, then we can kill them. So they sent women to them, and guess what the Israelites did? They fell right in track, and about a few thousand of them died, 20,000 or something like that, because they started to worship the idols of these women, their people, their gods. Going on. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when you came forth out of Mizraim, and because they hired against thee Balaam the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia to curse thee. So Mesopotamia is the land, is Aram. And this is a last example here. Let me see, evidence of our Armenian origin. It shows you here the name Syria, Assyria, Mesopotamia. This is a so-called scholar that these Edomites until this day hold high. And many of them said it too. All these scholars. And it's very long. All of them, all of them. That they reference and respect. Anyway. The name Syria, Assyria, Mesopotamia, Babylon, etc. Also Egypt. They turned it from Mizraim to Egypt. And Canaan, they turned it from Canaan into Phoenicia. Or the Phoenicians, etc. Stem from the Greeks, who were not familiar with the true geography of these lands when the names first started to be used. Later, partially because of continuing ignorance, and partially because of convenience, despite having accurate knowledge. So they kept on that they kept that lie. For example, they know that we're not the black Hebrew Israelites, but they keep on saying it because they want to cause that divide. And so when the northern tribes hear it, the so-called Latinos and the Native Americans, when they hear it, they be like, oh, that's some black group thing, the black Hebrew Israelites. And that's what I have met people that actually said that to me. I said, you're a part of it too. Huh? What are you talking about? That shows you how powerful Esau's tongue is, man. When he tells you, you know for a fact that these herbs, for example, are very good for you. But then you read something online talking about, oh, it's very dangerous, the side effects. You should rather use these pills and your doctor and stuff like that. Consult your doctor. And then a lot of people will get scared for these herbs. They'd be like, hey, man, you could get hurt from that. But you could die from these pills too. What are you talking about? But, Esau, his tongue is very powerful. People trust him. They persisted in using them since it would have required something of an effort to tell the truth. Fucking devils. Since it would have required something of an effort to give up the old familiar names and divisions of the countries because they wanted to divide them. So that would bring them together. He didn't want that. And until this day, he still does it. Well, you can't change this race, boy. Okay? We can't change these people. That's why they say, for example, that's why they say black Hebrew Israelites. That's why they say it. Because they know. They know, like, oh, don't get them together. Because they're going to start feeling themselves, And switch to the new ones, which are the old ones. Even if they were accurate, not more accurate. The old, true, and single name of these lands altogether is Aram. And by the way, Mesopotamia is not a land. It means the land between the rivers. It's not a place. It's talking about the rivers actually. It's like in the middle of it, stuff like that. It's the river it's talking about. Mesopotamia is a river. Well, it's the land between the rivers. So that's what it actually means. Anyway, so okay, you can read the rest for yourself if you have the time. Arameans or Aram people, but yeah, let me leave that. Okay, so now I can remove that. Okay, what did he call himself? Okay, so it says right here. So on the tomb of Darius, it said, king of countries containing all kinds of men. That is the truth, because Babylon was full of Cushites and other Shemites and stuff like that. You had Hamites is Cush. You had Japhetic people too there. Why? Midian was there. Here, as you can see it. Midian was right there. Midian was there. Elam was right here, as you can see. Susa is Elam too. And Ekbatana is Midian. And you had the Cushites here. In this region over here, near Susa. You had the Cushites there, and you had the Cushites here. You can read about that in the book of Judges chapter 3. The Cushites were here, and they were at that time king of Mesopotamia. So this is way after Nimrod. Nimrod was before the flood, by the way. Well, no, what am I talking about? Yeah. Nimrod was after the flood, sorry. But still, he was long dead and gone and dead. Dead and gone. Okay, so going back to over here. Alright, so king in this great okay, whatever that what? Achaemenian. Okay. A Persian, son of a Persian, an Aryan, having Aryan lineage. This is not really correct, because they don't understand what the hell they actually read. Now, if you read the scriptures, it's going to explain it much better. Okay, let me get a few things here. I'll get to this later. And by the way, there were here, the Achaemenid Empire was created by a nomadic Persian. Okay, cool. Okay, what does the word Iran mean? Now you might say it's Reddit, but that's what it means. I looked it up different sources, but this is just basically what I got right here. But you see different sources. The name Iran derives from Aryan. Esau grabbed this and started to make it into his own. And wait, let me get here. Wait, let me get all these things, and then I'm gonna read into the scriptures. Okay? So sorry about all the talking. Now,
have you ever heard the term Aryan? Nowadays it's associated with racism and white supremacy, but that wasn't always the case.
The word Aryan itself is derived from the same.
This is what they call Gypsy, but they call themselves Romani people. This is Elam, and I'm gonna show you that here too. It's the same guy here. Well, sorry, here. It's the same guy. He explains that the Romani people come from the so-called Gypsies. That's what they are called as a nickname by other people. They want to say that Gypsy come from Egypt. No, that's not really 100% on accuracy tip. The people come from India. That's where they come from. Now I just showed you that you had Scythians. So India. Well, I shouldn't say India. I should say rather Elam. Okay, but in India you have them predominantly now more than all the other places upon the planet Earth. Now I think here a picture. Maybe it's here. Yeah, it's here. For example, here you have this picture. For example, so here you have in Turkey you have like 2.75 million. Why? That's why they look like Turks. A lot of time they look like Turks, and a lot of time which are Edomites. And a lot of times they look like East Indians, but then mixed, and also the mixed ones. So they look like East Indians, because they are. They look like Turks, because they mingled with them. And they look like them both, because the mingle bundle of them all and all of that type of stuff. But anyway, let me go back to over here. Here, he talks about where his people come from. And they came from there. But just like I explained to you here. Just like I showed you that you had in the Bible, in the New Testament, you had Parthia and Parthia, and you had Scythians. Here, let me see, Scythians. You had the Scythians, the barbarians, all people that were not speaking Greek or Latin, they would call barbarian. So it's multiple people. But you did have the Berbers, which were the Israelites of northern Africa. They were called Moors. Let me show you that. So you had the Moorish people. They lived in, which are Israelites. They lived in where? They lived in Mauritania, which is Maurits. Maurits is Moor. Maurits is like the Dutch for Moor, basically. Maurits. Maurits. Moorish. Maurits is basically Dutch, but yeah, you can say it's English also. Maori is Moor. But yeah. Okay, enough of that. Go back to here. So it says right here, and let me see. Here. So Mauritania, and Algeria, Western Sahara, Tunisia, Morocco, Niger, which is a river, and Nigeria is also. Niger is a river. The land was called after a river. It just means black. And you had Mali, right? So all these places. You had the Moors, which I put up on the map, by the way. Here, yeah, I think so. Yeah, here. And all these places, Western Sahara. So all this is where the Moors were. Oh yeah, Malta too. I forgot to color that one. Malta, because Paul went there. Sicily also. Hey, I forgot those places. But Jakes were all over the place because Jakes were known to be in Mizraim also, in Egypt. So, yeah, they're all over the place. They were known to be in the midst of Cush too. They're all over the place. And this was called Negro Land, by the way, here. But yeah, that's another story. So now, okay, the barbarians, right? So everybody outside of the, and you can find that here, by the way, barbarians. Here, barbarians. Greek 9:16 used what? Greek 9:15. Sorry, used by the Greeks of any foreigner ignorant of the Greek language. See, all of them. So it was not specifically just one people. It was multiple people, like multiple races. So they were called barbarians, and you had them in, well, Acts chapter 5, 2, sorry, 2 verse 5 on down, and then you will see here Parthians, which Parthians are Parthia. Here, I just showed you where Parthia was. Here, Parthia is Iran, you know. So anyway, oh yeah, Media too. Here, Media, west of Media, Carmania, all these places I just showed you where they are. Well, the Carmanian were something else. Where's another place? But yeah, enough of that. Let me go on. Okay, so here, okay, barbarians, Scythians, and all that type of stuff. So it's mentioned in the scriptures, right? So let me go back over here. It's him talking now. Here.
Sanskrit word Arya, which means noble or honorable. In ancient Hindu texts, the term was used to describe the cultural and social characteristics of a group of people. For example, the country Iran is Persian for land of the Aryans, from a common Indo-Iranian root. During the late 19th century, European linguists used the term to refer to a language family, which includes most European languages, as well as languages such as Sanskrit and Persian, also known as Farsi.
Later on, European anthropologists started to promote the idea that Aryans were a nomadic, light-skinned race of people that conquered.
Here is where they started to change it, just like here. They change things. That's what these Edomites do. They cause mass confusion. He is the creator of doubt. He is the creator of confusion. That's what the caucus does. They've been doing that since the Greeks. Evils multiplied in the world as soon as the Greek started to have power over the planet Earth. And they're not even Greeks. The original Greeks is Japhet. So that even their origin name is a steal. Just like how you have them calling themselves Australians. They're not Australians. Like the land mass. Well, the land wasn't even called Australian in the first place, Australia. But yeah, still, but they're not the real people of that land. They're a bunch of criminals, all of them. DNA encrypted it. They're a bunch of criminals that was expelled, by the way. They didn't even want them there, but there was a bunch of criminals that went from England to Australia. But anyway, that's another story. In 1788, they came there.
West and South Asia and were the ancestors of most white Europeans. Other groups like Jewish people, black people, and Roma were considered non-Aryans and inferior races.
Then during World War II,
Roma is Elam. And I can show you pictures. Well, pictures is it's not everything, but still. This is how they depict themselves. And I think this means the traveler, the traveling thing of a cart. Back in the days, you had them carts. It looks like it, these Romanian people. But they call themselves Jews too. But she's not a Jew. She just converted to that thing. But just like I said, you had Turkish amongst them, that those Turkish are Edomites that converted to Islam, but they still call themselves Romani because they know that they come from Elam. Look at them. You can I can clearly see it, but anyway. Let me see here. Here, you have East Indian nomad Gypsies. And then they came from here. The whole land of Elam. This whole area. Afghanistan belongs to Elam also. And if you look at their clothing, then you look at the Romani people clothing, which is here, Romani people. If you look at their clothing, you will see it's like East Indian clothing. They clothe themselves exactly how the ancestors used to clothe themselves. And let me see, what do I have here? Okay, no. If you look at their faces, you will see like, this guy look like he's Indian, like, stuff like that. But wait, what the hell? What the hell is that? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, that's cool, sorry. Okay. If you look at this guy, for example, look at his hair. He's Indian hair, man. That's why I often look at the That's why I often look at these people, their hair, because in their hair I can see what race they are most of a lot of times, not most, but a lot of times I can see it. When you look at their faces, like their skin color, you can, this is East Indian, like I grew up around these people. You can see their faces, man. Like I know exactly what they look like. It's them. And let me see here. But like I said, they are mixed up with Turkish people, because if you look at this guy, he looked like a Turk, man. He looked like a Turkish guy. You know, they look Turkish. This is 100. If you ask people from the Netherlands, if you don't put the context, like these are so-called gypsies, if you don't put nothing, then you would say, oh, that's a Turkish guy, because they have them faces. Sorry. Wow. Okay, and then they dress the same thing like the East Indian females, you know, in India. They dress just like that. And here you have videos talking about it. For example, this one. They call themselves gypsies until this day. Cobra gypsies. Full documentary. This is a good oh yeah, I didn't even click that. It's a good documentary. You can learn about it there. They play around with Cobras and stuff like that. That's how they make them. Well, that's one of the ways that they make their money, because they don't work. They just live just all over the place. They just see a place and then they go inhabit it. That's what they do. You know, so yeah, you can watch this thing for yourself, but yeah, just for information's sake, it's a very good one. This one is actually also very good because I watched it. All right, okay, let me go back to over here. Sorry.
The Nazi Party adapted this idea and tied the Aryans to German ancestry. They also appropriated.
They steal, just like how they stole. Just like how they stole being Israelites, just like how they steal being the original Egyptians, but now they kind of clashing with the Arabs that say that they are the Egyptians. Funny thing too. Wait a minute. I have a few pictures on that. Wait, here. So I was typing in a few things, and then I typed in Canaanite, but then I stumbled upon this by accident. This was a few days ago, by the way. But yeah. So here you see them Arabs. They call themselves basically Canaanites now. It's these people, boy. I'm telling you, man. Look here. The last line, Canaanite dress. Basically, they're the last ones or something shit like that. Dressed on the edge of history. So they're claiming the Canaanite history, man. The Arabs. This is bullshit. But that's what these people do. Yeah. The Ishmaelites are doing it. And the Edomites are doing it. They love to steal somebody else their history. Just like the history of the Islamic people in Spain. Those were Moors. You do have to understand Moors was, you know, making children with the Arabs too. So yeah, but anyway. But predominantly those were Moors, right? Okay, the Canaanite women in their prime. So this is how they imagine or image wise or imagery or something like that. This is how they depict Canaanite women, you know, as them, Arabians, a bunch of Shemites talking about their Canaanites or Hamites. Fucking ridiculous. Canaanite women in their prime. So this is how they looked in their prime, in that time period, basically. Again here, Canaanite women in their pride. So that's, and this is on Pinterest, by the way. So that's just fucking ridiculous. Anyway, let me go on.
South Asian symbols like the swastika, thinking it was the symbol that the white Aryans used.
They took that symbol also, and the Native Americans also. They was also banned from using the swastika after the symbol was co-opted by Nazi party and party again here in Germany in 1920. The Navajo, Hopi, Apache, and Tohono, tribes prohibited their communities. They was forced to do it using the swirling loft or logs motif by way of the 1940s, whatever. Basically, they forced them because they even had this basketball team, if I'm correct, or soccer team. I think it's basketball team. And then, yeah, here, the Edomites, of course. That's something else. And then you had the natives. I just saw a picture. Here. This was the law thing. It says here, Navajo renounced their swastika design after U.S. declares war. They wanted to murder them. They wanted to murder them if they kept on using it. So they erased it out of their basically history, you could say, out of their so-called culture. Yeah, they erased it out of it because of threats, of murderous threats. That's what the devil does. Who can expect something else? Anyway, going back to over here.
In the early years of the Holocaust, they used the term Aryan to exclude people they didn't see as racially pure, which also included Roma and black people. People at one point even had to register for a certificate of Aryan descent.
Because many of these nationalistic Germans thought that the term Aryan was too inclusive, the term fell out of popular usage because they only wanted supremacy for people from their nation. But it became popular in the modern day as neo-Nazis and other white supremacist groups and gangs started using it to refer to their membership.
Additionally, certain academics still use the term Indo-Aryan to designate certain languages spoken in the Indian subcontinent, as well as Romani.
Let us know if you learned something new. Let us know if you want a part 3 in the comments, and follow.
Okay, cool, cat. Now I'm gonna go into the scriptures, Lord willing. Let me see here. Royal dynasty. Okay, let me get that too. So I typed in his word here. Man, Academian or something like that. Achaemenian, something like that. Is Artaxerxes? Yes, Artaxerxes is the name of several kings. So this is the title, right? Xerxes is also a title. Artaxerxes, I think it's above that one. Like the one that he came from, so something like that. But it's the same thing. It's like saying king or sultan. Sultan, sultan. This one, the sultan. Anybody could be a sultan. It's just the title. It's a person of position and all that type of stuff and rank. Okay, here. Okay. So it says right here is the name of several kings who belong to this thing, Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian Empire. Okay, Achaemenian, whatever. Or Achaemenid, oh my goodness, is the name of a royal dynasty. So, wow, sorry about that. Now, I typed in what is a dynasty, basically, right? A dynasty is a sequence of rulers from the same family. Okay, so what did Darius call himself? He called himself the son of Hiphop. Look, these Caucasus people, they change names and then they name it after something that is more suitable according to their tongue, because that's not what it was. But anyway, and then this, and then Darius on his description, on his tomb said, I am a son of a Persian, an Aryan, having Aryan lineage. Okay, so now finally here, okay, I need that. Okay, the word Iran literally means land of Aryans, right? That's what it means, land of Aryans. The word Iran. Okay, finally I can go up in the scriptures. Okay, check this out. Daniel chapter 9 verse 1. In the first year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, which is Artaxerxes or Xerxes, but and I can get it for you here. Here, Daniel chapter 9, verse 1. I can grab the others too if I want to, but I'll just go to Daniel. Wow, here. Daniel 9 and 1. Here, Ahasuerus, which is Hebrew 325. If I'm correct, the rest of it is also 325. So yeah. Here, Hebrew 325. It says here, Ahasuerus, the title of the king of Persia, probably Xerxes. But you had here Ahasuerus, which is Ahasuerus, and then it goes into so it says here Ahasuerus or Artaxerxes, but in this case Xerxes. That's what it says right here, but it's actually Artaxerxes, which is Ahasuerus, right? Ahasuerus would be I think Xerxes. I'm not sure. Anyway, the title rather than name, it's a title. Ahasuerus is a title, so he said that he came from there, right? Or it is written that it says that he came from there. Anyway, so it says here, in the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes. So when they teach this, not when they are teaching it until this day, when they read this, I should have said, when they read this, they didn't, well, I don't know if they understood actually. You know, it's the caucus. He's wiser than you think that he is. But the people following the wise ones, you know, he's lying to them. Most of the time, he's lying to them. If I can figure this out, you think that the caucus can't figure it out? With all the fancy tech he got, with all the fancy excavating that he does and all that, you know, when they dust off these things and they find stuff, you think that they don't know? I think they know. The elites know. The rest of the dummies, the Edomites, they don't know because they're stupid, you know, and they think they're smart because their leaders are smart. They're not smart. Most of them are dumb. That's why they believe that a man can be a woman. That's just beyond low IQ. Anyway, the son of a Persian, he's not the son of a Persian. Because Persia is Elam and he is the Medes, and you can find that here. Let me go on. So it says right here, of the seed of the Medes, which was king over the realm of the Chaldeans, which were the Shemites. So a Japhetic people, because like I said, well, I read it already before, but he was a king of many multiple nations, you know. Nebuchadnezzar also, he was a king of many multiple nations, as you can see here, Ezra 5 and 12. But after that our fathers had provoked Yahweh, the power of heaven, unto wrath, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, the Chaldean. He was a Chaldean, right, a Shemite, who destroyed this house, the temple of that King Solomon made in First Kings 3 and 10 and stuff like that, you know, First Kings, and carried the people away into Babylon. But in the first year of Cyrus, king of Babylon, so now he's the king of Babylon because he took over the king of Babylon. So he became king of kings because Nebuchadnezzar was known as king of kings, as you can read it here. Daniel chapter 2 verse 37. Thou, O king, he's talking to Nebuchadnezzar, art a king of kings. So he took down the king of kings and he became the king of kings. It's not officially written that he was king of kings, but if you read through history, he was the king of kings. Cyrus. It's not written in the Bible like that, but you can understand it for yourself. Ezra chapter 7 verse 12. Artaxerxes, king of kings. So he was also known as king of kings in the Bible. And Nebuchadnezzar also was known as king of kings. So if you read First Ezra chapter 2 and chapter 3 and 4, I think chapter 2, First Ezra chapter 2, maybe 3 and 4 also, but anyway, if you read First Ezra chapter 2, you will see that Artaxerxes was called king. He was they were called Lord. Sorry, he was called Lord by the other kings. They called him Lord. So they be lords many, as the Lord saith. 1 Corinthians 8:5. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many. Right. I don't need that. Well, it's oh yeah, Daniel was a lord. Daniel was a lord. He was a, let me read that. Daniel 6 and 28. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Darius the Mede, Cyrus the Elam, Persian. And Darius was, oh wait, let me finish this first. So just like how you had Joseph, that was a lord over all of Egypt except over the king. There's a verse on that. Genesis 47:26. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Mizraim unto this day that Pharaoh should be. No, wait. No. Here it is. Here. So Genesis 41:41. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. Let me see. Verse 43. And he, Pharaoh, made him, Joseph, to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, Bow the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. So he was a lord. He was a lord. And Daniel was put in that same type of situation, you can kind of say. He had a very high powerful position in that land. And who else? I think Jeremiah, but I'm not sure. Somebody else had a power. Let me see. He exposed... No, it was Daniel. Daniel chapter 1. Yeah. He exposed the fake liars with their fake God. He exposed them. So the king put him on high. Oh, yeah. It was Daniel 3. Yeah. Nebuchadnezzar did that. Here. Daniel 3:28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and their names were actually this here. The original names. Which were, I think, Daniel 1 then. Daniel 1. Here. These are their real names. Well, they're Hebrew names. Children of Daniel, Hananiah, and Michael is basically Michael. And Michael was turned into Meshach. Hananiah was turned into Shadrach. And Daniel was turned into Balthasar. Balthasar. And you had a cartoon character named Balthasar. So I remember that. From Dummel. Balthasar. This guy. The black cat. Balthasar. I remember that. It's not Balthasar, I know. But you kind of almost spell it like that. You had the Dummel, Semaphore, and Balthasar. Balthazar. Yeah. So Daniel was Balthazar. Something like that. Cesar, I don't know if it's pronounced like that actually. Anyway, so Daniel 3 and here, so 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which had sent his angel and delivered his, which was Yahushai, by the way, and delivered his servant that trusted in him, and changed the king's words, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I, Nebuchadnezzar, make a decree, that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces to go kill you. And their houses shall be made a dunghill. Man, he gonna make your house into a shit hill, you know, because there is no God that can deliver after this sort, after this manner. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. So yeah, they had status also there, but that's another story now. So yeah, he was a lord also. But yeah, there's lords many, but we have just one Lord, Yahushai, and one power, Yahweh. Okay, so Darius is a Mede, and here you can find it out. So if you go and you type in, sorry, not this one. If you go to here, Darius the Medes, Daniel chapter 9 verse 1, and then I click on this word Hebrew 47:4, which is this one, Hebrew 47:4. It says Media, Medes or Madai. So Media or Medes or Madai, Middle Land. Okay, cool. This is the son of Japhet. And then you go here to Genesis chapter 10. It says Genesis 10:2, the sons of Japhet, Gomer and Magog, or Magog, and Madai and Japhan. Now if you look up Madai, it's Hebrew 47:4, which is this one, which is Media actually. Media, Medes, and or Madai. And Japhan is Greek, Ionia or Greek. And if you look up the Ionian Sea, you will see it's near Macedonia. Here you can get it here. So this is the Ionian Sea and this is Greek, but here's Macedonia. So this is one of the reasons that these Caucasus, because they're liars by design, by nature, and they want it too. Let me see here. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened that after Alexander, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, which is Greece, which is Japhet, who came out of the land of Kittim. Kittim is here. Well, let me go here actually. This one. Genesis 10. Here. And then one of the sons of Japhet, and then comes here Kittim. So, and the sons of Japhan. So Japhan is Japhet. It comes from Japhet. This is son of Japhet. So Japhan and Elisha, and then you have Tarshish, the ships of Tarshish, which shows you that Tarshish is Europe, and therefore it's Spain because it's Tarshish, because Japhet was in Europe. Okay, and then Kittim. You might be like, hey, wait a minute, it's not spelled like that. Well, you need to understand the Apocrypha and also the New Testament. It spells names different, like Isaiah and Elijah. It spells it different. So same thing with Kittim. So if you click on this word Kittim, Hebrew 37:94, it says here Kittim or Kittim, and it's also spelled like this in the Bible itself. And you can find it here if I'm correct here. There you go. Here, the book of Numbers, chapter 24:24. It's spelled like this also. This is Assyrian Empire, which is Ashur. And these are all the sons of Eber, which is... No, okay. The sons of Eber go here. Everyone that comes from Eber is a Hebrew. Hebrew Pelagites, Hebrew Rurites, Hebrew Shulagites, Hebrew, well, Nahor had other children too also, and then he had Terah and all that there. But these are all, there are millions of Hebrews outside of the Hebrew Israelites. Millions of them. Millions of them. And they all gonna get their ass kicked once that time comes, because they all are our enemies, all of them. Even the sons of the brother of Abraham, so, and which are these ones, especially these ones, Maachites. We fought with them often. They lived above Israel. You know, they lived with the Geshurites, the Shemite Geshurites, not the Canaanite Geshurites. Anyway, let me go on. So that's one of the reasons that they say, let me go back over here. So let me see, first Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, Japhet, and this is Japhet land also, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, but he was a Mede that was king over the Persians also, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. Greece is Japhet. That's Greece. And then let me see another map for you maybe. Let me see here. Here you go. Here is Greece. This region, but I want actually a better one with colors so that you can see the difference. Greece map. Here you go. This one. Well, here is better, so that it excludes the other places. Okay, this is basically how you call that thing? Greece. This is basically Japhet land, but here were the Canaanites. Kapturim. The Canaanites were there, and Paul went there too. He went there too because there were Israelites there too. So, yeah. And Esau was in the midst of these lands, and then therefore, you know, he's that king now, Alexander and stuff like that. So that's the mix-up that I've seen a lot of people do when they say like, hey, no, Japhet is the white man, is Japhet, he's the white man, because they think like, oh, because Alexander came out of that and that, and all that there. Okay, enough of all this. So going back to over here, I don't need this anymore, I think. Yeah, I don't need this. Okay, so Jeremiah chapter 34 verse 1. Let me see, what's this? I don't need that yet. Jeremiah 34 and 1. The word which came unto Jeremiah from Yahweh, when Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon and all his army and all the kingdoms of the earth of his dominion. So when Darius the Mede took it over, he became King of Kings, and he became king of all these people. And all the people fought against Jerusalem and against the cities thereof, saying, they wanted to kill us, and they're going to do it again, because the Heavenly Father is going to allow them. He's going to set it up. Zechariah chapter 14 shows you that all the nations will get together and fight against Jacob. That's self-explanatory. That's going to happen according to the scriptures. Judges 3:1. This is the mindset that we should be in as Jacob descendants. Judges 3:1. Now these are the nations which Yahweh left to prove Israel by them, to test us, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. He left them in our midst to see, are you going to make children with them? Huh? Are you gonna be buddy with them? Huh? Are you gonna follow their God? And yes, we started to do it because our people started to celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that type of garbage. And that's in America, by the way. But here you have our people following. You know what the difference is? The difference is here our people have our own language. Well, the language that we learned from, the lands that we are from. So we're gonna still keep that connection. We're gonna still keep the things of ourselves. But if you lose your language, there's nothing to fall back upon. Like when people come from South America, they come to America to live, they have their own things. Even the so-called the Haitians and the so-called Jamaicans, and of course the rest of the tribes, but they also lost their language. Now the only one that don't speak the language here, they don't speak Latin. Why Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana? Well, that's another story. But I mean, like the natives. I wanted the native. The native. The native. They speak their own language. They didn't colonize them. They speak Dutch, and they have their own language. Like the one they have the Arawak. They have the Carib, which they call Carib. That's not the fucking word, but anyway, whatever. They call it this. They call it this. That's not what it is. They have their own language. These have their own language. Trio, Toreno, Tareno, and Wayana, and Saranato, of course, and Dutch. This is the Caucasus one. These ones basically are, there's West African words in it and stuff like that until this day. But you have different ones. You have different tribes that, the more you go bushward, or downward, I should say, the more it's kind of hard to understand. And eventually, I don't understand what the fuck this is. Because they speak, here, Ghana. This language. I'm dead serious. This guy is from Ghana, and then he went to Suriname and he talked to the people. I was like, what the fuck? He could talk to them. 100%. And I thought to myself, like, damn, that's 400 years later, more than 400 years. And they still talk the same language. God damn it. So I know where they from. They from West Africa, man. There's nothing else. There's nothing. Here, the video. I'll put the link in the description. It's actually in part 2. Let me see here. Part 2. I think this is it. Then. They still speak here. They talk to each other, man. I was like, what the fuck? Why is this irritating? Here you go. Here. They can talk to each other. They talking right now. But anyway. And he had to sit down, man, and started thinking like, damn, I could talk to these people. Let me see here. But yeah, sorry about that. I had to stop or do something. Sorry about that. Now going on. Yeah, you can watch this for yourself. But yeah, they speak the same language, and so I know where they from. I know that these people are from West Africa, because they speak the same language as this person that comes from West Africa. And he had to sit down and think for a moment, because he was looking at him like, it looked like he was trying to get a little bit emotional. You know what I'm saying? He had to, Yeah, to maintain himself, like, you know, it's crazy. It's wonderful that, you know, we can still speak the same language. And, you know, he had to catch his breath for a little moment over there and start like that. Right. Even this one lost their composure, you know. So anyway, so I know that language is like, it's not no goddamn fucking cock. Boy, listen, it's not no Edomites. I'd rather join the Hamites than a motherfucking Edomite. Okay? So don't come with that dumb shit. Like, because these caucus love to say that shit. Because they're confusion. They are dispersions. They are, how you call that word? Dividers. They want to, and they want to claim, they want to come up in you got my stuff, and stuff like that. Fuck these people, man. Anyway, yeah, I don't need to read this. So, okay, so now if you go here in this scripture over here, Nehemiah chapter 12 verse 22, the Levites in the days of Eliashib, Joiada, and Hanan, and Jaddua, okay, wow, were recorded chief of the fathers, also the priests, to the reign of Darius the Persian. So now it says Darian is a Persian. Yeah, because they were called that. Same thing all the way back over here. They were called Persians and Aryans and stuff like that. Let me read it again. The Aryans are neither exclusively Medes nor Persians. Rather, both the Medes and the Persians were subgroups of the Aryans. Yeah, this is true, but this also the same thing with here, the Israelites. You know, I am a Jew from Tarsus. Here, I'm a Jew from Tarsus, right? And then here he says he's a Benjamite. Oh, is it Romans 13? No, Romans 11. Right. Here he says, I am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. So now comes the seed basically because he's the seed of Benjamin. That is what Paul is. But here he says that he is a Jew. Now, why does he say that? Now, if you go to the book of 1 Kings chapter 12, it shows you that